In this episode, my solo Chasing Smiles adventure through Zimbabwe continues after I leave Nyanga and the Sky Bridge and head towards Mutare, and of course I don't take the easy straightforward route. I visit the Vumba mountains and I find an amazing campsite in the Chimanimani where I spend the night. From there I head west towards the iconic Birchenough bridge before heading south to Gonarezhou and Zimbabwe's most southerly tip. But be warned, I also do some cooking, as apparently most YouTube overlanding 4x4 shows should be doing. And then of course I hand out some soccer balls along the way and make some new friends. And I drive the most spectacular route and roads that I'm surprised is not full of bikers and overlanders alike. So get comfortable with your favorite cold beverage or warm one now that it's winter in the southern hemisphere. This is going to be a fairly long episode. I hope you enjoy the adventure. Mutare, originally known as Southerly, is the most populous city in the province of Manicaland and the third most populous city in Zimbabwe. Located near the border with Mozambique, Mutare has long been a center of trade and a key terminus en route to Port of Beira in Mozambique. Although the city was founded in the late 19th century, the region has a long history of trading caravans passing through on the way to the Indian Ocean, from ports such as Southerly to inland settlements such as Great Zimbabwe. Mutare was founded in 1897 as a fort, about 8 kilometers from the border of Mozambique, and is just 290 kilometers from the Mozambique port of Beira, earning Mutare the title of Zimbabwe's gateway to the sea. It is sometimes also called the gateway to the Eastern Highlands. What's really interesting about this town is that over history and over time it has been moved 3 times, and it was mainly moved the last time to be closer to the railway lines that ran from Bulawayo to Beira. The city had a tramway from 1897 to May 1921, which transported passengers from the railway station up to the old Southerly Club, now Mutare Club. The tramway was in the center of the main street where the palm trees now stand. Now excuse me while I take a detour for my mother. I'll explain why. Out of interest, the memorial cross on Cross Kopje that dominates Mutare was erected in commemoration of the 269 soldiers with the 1st and 2nd Battalions of the Rhodesian Native Regiment for Zimbabwe, Malawi and Mozambique, who fought and died in the German East African campaign of the First World War. It was unveiled on August 30th, 1924. Now just below the cross sits Marymount Teachers College, which is a former Roman Catholic boarding school established in 1957 and in 1981 became a teachers' college. Now you may ask, well, why am I here and what has this got to do with overlanding? Well, I was in the area and my mother asked me to stop by and see if I could just take some pictures for her, as she went to school here in the 60s. And I thought others may like to see what it looks like now also. Now please, I know it seems that I've just walked in here and started filming and taking pictures. I obviously did get permission, so please ask permission if you plan on doing the same sort of thing. That cheering and shouting was all the students waving and cheering me on. It was quite funny. Thank you to the faculty for allowing me to have a quick tour of the school. I had originally planned on continuing south to the Chimani, but decided to take a detour up to the Vumba Mountains and to see what I could find. I also heard a lot of good things about the Vumba Botanical Gardens and Leopard Rock, and I wanted to see these places. And time was on my side, so I decided to take a detour. That's the Mozambican border in the distance. The Bavumba Mountains, or Vumba Mountains, straddle the Zimbabwe-Mozambique border and are situated some 10 kilometers southeast of Matari. The Bavumba rise to a height of 1,911 meters. There are 3 must-dos when you go up into the Vumba Mountains. The first is Tony's coffee shop, the second is Vumba Botanical Gardens, and the third is Leopard Rock Hotel. Leopard Rock Hotel was built and opened in 1946 and was part of the 1953 Royal Tour, where the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret stayed at the hotel. It also has an internationally recognized golf course, and to be honest, it's quite spectacular. The Queen actually said there's nowhere more beautiful in Africa. In 2011 and 2012, the hotel was named Best Resort Hotel in Zimbabwe. And in 2013, CNN Travel named Leopard Rock Golf Course one of Africa's 10 best golf courses. Another reason I came here is to see these little guys. So mango monkeys are also found in the region. They're very similar to the blue vervet monkey, but they spend most of their time resting and foraging in the forest canopy. After spending a bit of time outside, looking like an absolute lunatic while following these monkeys as they darted around the trees, I decided to head towards Vumba Botanical Gardens and take a look at their campsite there. The lady at the gate very kindly let me go and have a quick look at the campsite so that I could decide whether I was going to stay or not before paying my fees. this campsite has a spectacular view and I really wanted to stay, but it was still early in the day, so I had to make a decision. Do I stay in this campsite with this amazing view, or do I make up a day and head towards the Chimani Mani? It was a difficult decision. The campsite is set on the side of a mountain looking down a magnificent valley. The toilets are very run down, but there is a donkey boiler and water available. With about 160 kilometers to go, I decided to take a chance and drive to Chimani Mani and stay at Bridal Falls, even though I would probably be a little late. After an amazing drive, I arrived in the dark to a closed boom and no one around to help me. So I turned around to try and find another place to stay. I ended up driving around in the pitch black and ended up on top of a mountain high above Chimani Mani town, where I decided to rather head back to Bridal Falls. On the way there, I met with another family who were also lost. We decided to open the boom and try and find someone to pay in the morning. With the family from Harare as backup, I set up camp, just in time to watch the moon rise. So last night I stayed at the Bridal Falls campsite. There's a nice little swimming hole if you are brave enough to go in the water. There's so much to visit and see in Chimani Mani, but I just don't have time to see it all, unfortunately. I've got to get back to work. So I'm off to see the Birchenough bridge now, and then off to Gonarezhou. And then hopefully I'll be visiting the most southern tip of Zimbabwe, if I can get there. I actually couldn't find anyone to pay, so if Zimparks would like to let me know how to pay, I'd love to pay. I am due to pay you guys for entrance and a night's camping, but in all honesty I had to stay somewhere, so I stayed there and there is no one around for me to pay. So Zimparks, please comment down below if you ever see this, or somebody please share this with Zimparks and ask them to contact me so that I can pay for my camping. Chimani Mani was founded by the brothers Thomas Moody and Dunbar Moody in 1892. In 1895 it was moved to its current site and was officially called Malseta after Moody's family home in Orkney in Scotland. Following Zimbabwe's independence in 1980, the name was changed to Chimani Mani. I've just climbed around about 800 meters out of Chimanimani. But I thought I'd just stop and smell the forest, listen to the sounds. I've got a small herd of cows here with two youngsters looking at me as if to say, what the hell are you doing? I've got some guys working in the forest, and then I've got that view behind me. Isn't it spectacular? From the Chimanimani Mountains, my journey now continued westwards towards the Birchenough Bridge, along some more amazing roads, with some incredible mountain passes along the way. Birchenough Bridge is an exact scaled-down replica of the Sydney Harbour Bridge and was designed by the same designer, Ralph Freeman. The bridge was funded at a cost of £145,000 and planned by the Bight Trust, a foundation chaired at the time by Sir Henry Birchenough, whose ashes are buried beneath the structure of the bridge. When the Save River is in flood, it can rise up to 9 meters here, and due to the unstable sandy riverbed, the only solution was a single arch suspension design. In 1935, when it opened, the 329 meter long bridge was the third largest suspension bridge in the world. The bridge used to appear in the old Zimbabwean 20-cent coin. After crossing this bridge about 20 times trying to get all this footage for you, a few of the locals were starting to look at me a little bit funny, and I think they thought I had lost my mind, so I turned around and headed towards Gonarezhou, where I needed to fill up before going to Gonarezhou. There are several garages where you can fill up with fuel in Gonarezhou. And the new road from Gonarezhou is incredible, so I made great time to Gonarezhou. After checking in at reception and discussing the options with a very helpful staff, I headed south to Mabalowata campsite. Now I know I probably got that pronunciation wrong, so please excuse me. And I absolutely love this park, and I would battle to choose between Mana Pools and Gonarezhou. One of the many landmarks in the area is the Chipinda Bridge, which had been damaged by the Cyclone Helene floods, which hit southern Africa in 2000. depending on what side of the fence you sit on. It fortunately or unfortunately hasn't been repaired since. There are two main routes to the south of Gonarezhou. The quickest and shortest way is to take the public road that runs alongside the park or outside of the park boundaries. The 106-kilometer route takes about 2 hours, whereas if you drive through the park you will need to travel around 130 kilometers and keep to the lower speed limits. At the first checkpoint back into the park that I stopped at, I was dive bombed by a swarm of tsetse flies. These poor wardens have to work here daily. I don't know how they do it. The track varied from smooth gravel to horribly corrugated tracks, but they are still much better than sitting in Johannesburg traffic on one of the highways. I eventually arrived at Mabulata and was surprised by the oasis in the dry bush. Staff, as usual, were very friendly and booked me in and gave me directions to the most amazing campsite where I set up camp. So apparently any 4x4 show should have a cooking section. That's what I've seen anyway. So this is what I do. Okay, everyone asks me what I normally eat, so I like to keep it simple. I'm not a great cook. My wife's a better cook than I am. So I normally have a potato that I wrap up and throw in the fire. Just like that. Throw that in the fire. Then I've got frozen vegetables. So make sure you get your vegetables. Looks about right. And then I put salt and pepper on that. Wrap that up. Himalayan pink salt of all things. I don't know if it's any different to normal salt, but anyway, it's there. And then I get the healthy stuff, because if you've got healthy vegetables and unhealthy margarine or butter, it balances itself out. Dollop of butter, and then you roll this up. And this also goes in the fire. Nice and easy. That's my serving of vegetables for tonight. And once these are wrapped up, I normally put the potato in first, because that takes quite a while. And you'll feel when it's soft, obviously use tongs because this gets hot. When it's soft, it's ready. These are pretty much cooked already, so maybe 10 minutes in the fire, you know. I would say put them in when you start cooking your meat. By the time your meat's done, your veggies will be done. These are done. Just waiting for the potato, and then it's ready. Any food that's cooked in a setting like this tastes incredible after a long hot day in the car. I went to bed early and I slept very well until the noisy neighbors threw around the last of the pots and the wolf backs and left very early the next morning. I now had this amazing campsite all to myself. Mabu Luata is one of those campsites where you could actually just sit and watch all the game and bush come alive around you. As in the rest of Gonarezhou, the ablution facilities are absolutely brilliant and spotless. After breakfast, while I was downloading and backing up footage, I decided to take a drive and explore the area. And one of the tracks I noticed from the campsite led across the riverbed with a small river crossing, and obviously I had to take that route. A lot of game, but they all seemed very shy and ran as soon as they saw me. I suppose they're not used to too many vehicles in this area. It was extremely dry and extremely hot, and the summer rains hadn't come yet, so this bush was very sparse, and I was very surprised to see all the game. I even discovered some miniature Birchenough cliffs, which were quite spectacular. Am I the only one that sees the face with the Ushaka hat? I stopped to watch this herd of buffalo, which took off running, almost causing the ground to shake under me as soon as I climbed out of the vehicle to film them. A spectacular sight and awesome to see, but some of them were not very impressed with me being in their area. Temperatures were starting to reach the mid-40s, and I eventually decided to turn around and return to the tranquility and the coolness of the shade in the campsite. As I sat there alone with no one around, I watched the bush come alive around me. What an absolutely spectacular campsite, which again I did not spend enough time in. I will be back. It's 6 a.m. and I had an awesome night's sleep. I woke up to the sound of a emerald spotted wood dove right above my tent and hyena in the distance. It was absolutely brilliant. I had the whole campsite to myself. Jeez, how lucky is that? Mabulata, an absolutely awesome campsite. Great facilities, the bathrooms are very clean, and yeah, I think it's definitely a place you can bring your family, and it's a safe campsite. They've got a basic fence which is electric, just stops the elephants from coming in. But yeah, sure, not a sound last night except for the animals, and no neighbors with wolf packs and opening and closing, slamming doors like I had the previous night for 3 hours. So it was really, really lucky for me to be in a campsite that's totally empty, especially a developed campsite like this. But right now I'm leaving the park on my way back to Johannesburg, and I'm going to be heading towards Crook's Corner, but on the Zimbabwean side, which is Zimbabwe's most southern point. It used to be a hunting concession, so there should be some tracks. I've looked on things like Google Earth. I'm going to get going. I've got 78 kilometers of road to go, and that might take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending how it goes. And I was fortunate enough to meet some children along the way where I could start chasing some smiles and handing out soccer balls to their surprise. I also asked the braver children to sign the journal for me. Some of them couldn't really write, but at least they made their mark.
Cross.
Okay, I have about 6.83 kilometers to go to the southernmost tip of Zimbabwe, and surprisingly the road's been, I mean, it's a dirt track, but it's been pretty good. I expected it to be overgrown and everything, and it looks like some vehicles have been along here recently. I did see Gonarezhou Land Cruiser Bucky, so possibly he's been along here, but the road's not too bad. Let's see as we get closer to the southernmost tip. I've been a bit delayed because I did hand out soccer balls, but I've got one soccer ball left, and I want to keep that for the most southern child, I guess, in Zimbabwe. If there's a village, that would be even better, because then I'll go to the chief and ask if I can give it to him. And yeah, let's see. I've got 6.1 kilometers to go now, so I'm nearly there. Okay, if you look carefully, I can see the Limpopo, which marks the southern boundary or border of Zimbabwe. I hope you can see it through the trees there. Almost at the border of Mozambique, probably about 800 meters away. The iCamp has definitely been scratched on the roof, but yeah, I'm getting a little bit nervous because I see that the border is a couple of hundred meters in front of me, and I definitely don't want to cross that line and get in trouble. So let me stop filming. I'll try and film when I get next to Limpopo, if I manage to get there. And then this happened. I'm not sure if they got a bigger fright or me. Okay, I'm at the Mozambique border, so I'm quickly turning around. I smile and wave, and yeah, I decided to leave here quickly. Okay, Crook's Corner is somewhere through there, about 300 meters. I'm still trying to find a way. It shows that there's a track there somewhere, but I'm still trying to find it. So we might have to do a bit of bush bashing. But there's big thorns, so I'm not so sure I'm keen on that. As I wasn't in a national park or anything, I decided to put the drone up and see if I could find a route. I couldn't see anything, unfortunately. So close, but I didn't make it. But I did find the most southern residents, let's just say, in Zimbabwe. Okay, come. Come. Hey. Hey. I'm not sure who I was waiting for, but the lady invited me to have a seat, so I decided to take up the invitation and wait and see who arrived. She was not impressed with whoever she was talking to. Okay, I think that was pretty successful. The most southern village. And that lady, like in America, they got the southern ladies that are very loud and seem to rule the roost. I think that lady rules this countryside. You would have seen she was shouting at everybody. They wanted to invite me for a meal. Man, these people, they got nothing, but they want to invite me for a meal and offer me a drink. I mean, can you believe it? Bye-bye. And I feel a little bit bad for not taking them up on their offer, but to be honest, I've got to get back to Joburg. It's 20 to 10 in the morning, and I've got a long way to go. I'll probably get home in about 12-15 hours. It's been an awesome trip. I think I did achieve. I wanted to actually park on the banks of the Limpopo, overlooking Crook's Corner and Pafuri, but I didn't achieve that because the bush is just too thick, and to cut through the bush to get there would take me a month. So we managed to get close enough, got to within 300 meters of the Limpopo. I now measured that with the drone, so if it's not accurate, it's plus minus. Put my seatbelt on. And then I managed to give out a soccer ball to maybe not a village, but the most southerly residents of Zimbabwe. And there were about 4 kids. One disappeared and ran away in the bush. I think he thought I was a tokoloshi and didn't quite understand what I was doing there. I've got about 700 Ks to get home, of which about 220, 230 are going to be on the sand track. So that's going to be a good 5 hours, and then another 5 hours to get home, and then hopefully not too long through the border. Coming through the border was an absolute breeze. Took me about an hour both sides, and then Saturday afternoons are normally quiet, so hopefully it's going to be just as quick going back home. Thank you to everyone that supported. Oh, and by the way, while I was on this trip, we hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Can you believe it? I actually am blown away. I can't believe it. So, thank you all for the support, and I really appreciate it. I'm blown away. I don't know what to say about it. It's just thank you.
You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist.